right. All right. Yep. We're going to use this scene, and then I will just make it full screen. And that way, when I upload it to YouTube, it can be seen. And oh God, yeah. So rather it says it was awesome to hear the pipes. Yeah, the bagpipes. It's just incredible. The composer's name's Geoff. Oh gosh, something Geoff something Italian. I forget. And people have already been bothering and be like, "Hey, is this song part of the soundtrack released? I've got to have it." And only a few of the songs that he's previously done for the Squad 42 soundtrack are released. This one at the beginning of the video, before we get into it, that one hasn't been released. He recorded that one earlier this year, so it's as far as Squadron 42 is concerned, it's practically brand new. So North End Trooper 07, happy Halloween. Did you take the kiddo out and do trick or treating? We did for just a little bit. He was on Struggle Street, so he didn't last for very long. But Daddy got candy. All right, let's make this full screen, and let's start at the very beginning. And this video, especially this intro, just gives me flippin' tingles. Oh God, yes. What do you guys think about these thrusters on this F7A? I thought those are really interesting, how they like flip up and down based off of what's going on, like, a little bit of braking or something. Very interesting configuration. I don't think I'd ever noticed that before. Yeah. Oh, we do have echo. Was it just echo on the video? Yeah, I'm going to play it again. You guys tell me if you hear echo.
Archie, this is Gary.
Come back, Gary.
Redirect to sector 7 Bravo Echo.
Why is it giving me an echo? That is so weird. And let's see. Hold on, try it again.
For immediate tasking.
Copy that. On our way.
Did that do it? Did I fix the echo? I don't know how to play bagpipes. Okay, first pause, because this is very, very important. Ooh, that reminds me. Almost forgot. Let's see, where's that image? Hold on, let me find the image, and that will make this all clear, because there's something very important about this screen. Aether Drift, good to see you. How are you doing? Yeah, bagels galore. But bagels with Shmia. Okay, good. The echo is gone. I figured out what it was. For some reason, when I updated OBS, it had my desktop audio playing through when I had previously had it muted. So I need to go through all the scenes and make sure it's gone. Uh, oh gosh, Aomi. Hey Tree, it was nice running into you at CitizenCon. Hope you had a good. Yes, I had an amazing time. It was really good to see you too. I just want to say, if we, and not just to you, but to anyone else, if we met at CitizenCon, I just really appreciate you coming up and saying hi. It really means a lot to put a face to, or put a face to a name. When we only get to talk like this, and so it's just really great to be able to meet people who have hung out with me in chat and watched the show and been a part of the community. So yeah, it totally made my con. So I really appreciate that. Lady Space Patrol says, I'm stubbornly using the Uberev Electro Pistol in game because I have a lovely Venom skin. It occurred to me today that maybe the Uberev will be one of the Volt weapons that will shoot beams when heat mounts. I wonder if that's so Uberev is a different manufacturer. Volt is the name of the manufacturer for the Volt weapons. There's several, and those are only in Squadron 4 now. They're developed for Squadron, but we are going to get them in the PU eventually. But Uberev, they both use electron damage, I think it is. I forget. But the Ubrev ones look like something out of they look very Fallout to me, whereas the Volt ones look very futuristic looking. Oh yeah, let me find that picture. Hold on. Let's see, where did it go? I got selected too, but I was too busy this afternoon, so I'm going to play tomorrow morning before I have to teach in the afternoon tomorrow and Thursday. So before I leave to go teach, I'm going to try and get an hour or two of Pyro in. Where is that image? I know I have it saved on this computer. I better. Bear with me. Do I not have it saved on this computer? Really? I could have sworn I did. Oh gosh, I need to organize this folder. It just gets so cluttered. Oh, I only have the video? Swagosaurus Rex, good evening. Here, we'll pull this up real quick. So this is the Squadron 42 leak that came out last year that was actually 2 years old at the time. I mean, I thought it looked pretty amazing then, but this is only in 720p. And there it is. Okay, so this will work. Yeah, LHD when CIG. And that's what we're going to talk about because this provides a better image of what we're looking at in here. So here we are looking at the second fleet in orbit above Vega 2. It was actually really cool, and it'll be really interesting to see Vega eventually when we get it, because I thought it was pretty cool that there's a moon right there, but there's gas clouds and such, very close, essentially relatively close to the planet. But so it's kind of difficult to see because of the lighting. But you can see my mouse cursor right here down in the bottom right of the screen to the right and lower from the Bengal. You see what everybody's like, oh, that's another Bengal. It is not another Bengal. So you can see just by looking at it that it has a massive turret here, and a massive turret here. Can't really tell if there's one down here because of the lighting. But if you look over here, there's another one, the exact same configuration. Turret here, and turret right here. 2 on the front, on the top, and 1 on the rear. USS North Carolina style. The Bengal does not have those big turrets. The Bengal has one single big turret on the bottom, and then we'll look at these in a greater detail. As well, we also have this guy right here, and everybody's like, oh, what is that? And because we're looking sort of up at it, it makes it difficult to visualize. But you can see the little antennae thing down here on the bottom, on the left and the right, just like the Bengal has. And so we'll get a better look at that here in a second. And there's actually another one of those. Right here, over on the far left-hand side. This is the same ship. You can see the bottom, the antennae coming off of the main thrusters here, and you can see again, there's only lower main thrusters. There aren't upper main or secondary thrusters like the Bengal has above the main thrusters on either side. And let's see, to get a better look at those ships, here is what we just saw. That one I just pointed out without the turrets, and it has the lower main thrusters, and you can see the antennae here and on the backside over here. And then it has a flight deck on top of it. And this is like a hangar right back here, just like the Bengal has, would be used for what's called the combat air patrol for doing rapid launch. But it doesn't look like there is a front door thing like on the Bengal, as well as on this what we're going to call a cruiser. And you can see that this ship is also shorter behind the main thrusters on the sides are different, and it's also shorter on the back end. And so we don't know if on this back end, if there's a door going into a hangar, or if this is just the main takeoff and this is the only access to the hangar. We're not quite sure. We don't know what kind of ship it is. We just know that this isn't, it doesn't have any big guns, like this cruiser here, or even like the Bengal does on the bottom. And so we can only assume that this is some sort of escort carrier, LHD type thing. Not quite sure. There's a lot of missing information. But you can see that it shares some of the silhouette, but it is very different. It's angled differently here. There isn't this like duck-billed nose at the front. It looks different back here. It slopes different off the top. It's a very different ship, but it's very obvious that, these are built by the same manufacturer. These are all RSI. And let's get back to the Bengal here. And actually, I'm going to pull up another image of the Bengal really quick. Let's see if I can find a good one that will show I'd like to see aha. Oh, that's really small though. Oh, here we go. This will work. Why are all these images small? Okay, this will work. All right. So you can see we're looking at the tail end of the Bengal here. Make it big. And you can see this is that rear hangar door, and it's slanted down from the rear. We have a very little information on the cruiser, but I'll show you what we've got here in a minute. I'm going to drop some links for you guys to save and peruse on your own. As well, because Jail, who works with Paul, does the Lore Citizen podcast, but also does his own lore stuff, and is a big xenolinguistic geek. Is also very much into the UEEN history, traditions, all that sort of stuff. But you can see how the Bengal has the rear door back here, and it's slanted down in a way like that. And then this guy doesn't have that door. It comes into this sort of rounded, tapered back end with this turret here. And so to me, this suggests, and I'm just saying suggests, it doesn't mean anything, but to me, it suggests that this isn't actually a door up here anymore like the Bengal is. That this is just leftover bit and it's filled in, and instead of having a hangar down in here, this is where the magazines and the storage and all sorts of other crew compartments are. But then the other thing that you can see is that this tail, let's see, I'm pretty sure I'm right. Let's see, is there a better picture? This is an okay picture. No, we'll go back. But this back end doesn't taper the same way that this back end does. And so a lot of people were saying, oh, the only difference is the thrusters and the turrets. Otherwise, it's a Bengal variant. No, it's definitely not a Bengal variant. It has a lot of differences, but unless you've seen this image from this video, you wouldn't recognize that, because from here, if you looked at it this way, you wouldn't be able to recognize that there's no obvious rear door going into a hangar. You just see a front end right here that looks similar. Well, they could have just easily closed that off, and it wouldn't be, or maybe this is a very small hangar. We don't know. But we definitely know that there isn't a rear door, at least isn't a rear hangar door like the Bengal has. And we can see here that it doesn't look like it has one of those big massive turrets on the bottom, but it, we can definitely see the big turrets on the top, which seems kind of interesting, kind of a blind spot to me. And then if we look at it here, we can see if you, and I can share this video with you if you'd like. If you hop in my Discord, I will happily upload it to you so you can get a better look. But these are all dual turrets. We don't know what size these are. To me, they look smaller than the Bengals, but I've got nothing to compare them against. But these are all dual turrets, whereas the Bengals is a quad size 12 railgun. There's 4 railguns on that turret. It's just nuts. Yeah, the duckbill can also provide sloped armor front as ship angles. It's and not only is it sloped on the front right here, it's sloped on the sides. So it's definitely would be good for that. But this is a very interesting ship, but it's definitely not a Bengal, but definitely obviously made by RSI. And so let's go ahead and keep watching the video. I'll let it play for a second, and I'm going to pull up a few of those links that I talked about for you. Blizzrat. I'm not sure I can hold the line much longer. I want this now. Are you talking about Squadron 42 or are you talking about the ships? ¿Por qué no las dos? Yeah, both is good. Yeah. I'm dying to have more information about those ships because we've known about the Bengal for so long. We've got a lot of information about the Bengal. We've seen it in the PU. Now, mind you, here, let's pull back really quick. Do we get a good shot of it? We don't get a great shot of it here. So I learned when I was at CitizenCon. If you followed my coverage of CitizenCon, you may have seen me posting pictures of, I forget the name of the org. I'm sorry, guys. They're really cool. But they had 3D printed and assembled a Bengal, a massive Bengal. I mean, I think they said it was like 4 feet and some change long. It was super cool, super cool. But I was looking at it, I was like, wait a minute, that looks different. Look at all these turrets. And the guy, one of the people who printed it and assembled it, scale was 1 in 500. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Thank you, Shori. Good to see you, buddy. So what they told me, and he was under NDA, so he had to weasel his way around it, but he told me that the model that they printed was the one from Squadron 42, and the one that we have in the PU is an outdated model, and it is much more heavily armed in Squadron 42, and so eventually the one in the PU will get updated. That's the other reason why it doesn't look as detailed, because the one in Squadron 42 has had a lot more polish and updating, but it is a lot more big turrets. Not like big like that quad turret on the bottom, but big, like size 7, 8, 9 type turrets, duals around it, and other things. So that was really cool to see. And I'm going to drop a link in chat. And this is a link to the video that Jail did all about the lore for those two, what I'm calling them, cruisers. Now, we don't have anything identifying what those escort carrier type ships were. We don't have any lore on them, but we do have lore on. We'll get to it later here in the scene, in the video, and I'll pull up the video. We'll watch Jail's video when that comes up, and that way you can see what I'm talking about. But we actually do have lore, a small snippet of lore information about one of the cruisers, and from that we can extrapolate that those two cruisers are from the same class of cruiser.
I know I just wrote you, but a couple of hours ago, proximity sensors
On the other side of the jump got twigged. Word is it might be that clan we've been battling with. I guess that last fight didn't scare them
off
off.
quite like we all hoped it would. Honestly, we've been out here so long, I don't know what to
Pull for anymore. I just wanted to let you know.
So this is kind of interesting and kind of fun. Today's hottest deals, Voyager Direct. So they're like writing an email, using the 30th century version of Dragon built into their wristwatch thing, the Moby Glass. Today's hottest deals, Voyager Direct. Voyager Direct is the Star Citizen Universe equivalent of Amazon. Write your senator today about the POLO Initiative, the Naval Veterans Association. So the POLO Initiative was an initiative by a senator, and I don't remember which one it was. Last name is Polo, but I think he was from Terra or something like that. But basically, he was trying to cut the military's budget, and then the attack on Vega happened, and like millions of people died. So that didn't happen. Loan opportunities, Central Core Bank. This is so, if anyone has been in the military, and if you haven't, I'm going to explain why this is just ironically hilarious to me, is banks. If you thought that banks did predatory loans to college students, I promise you it's worse for what young people go through in the military straight out of boot camp. Because surrounding every military base, and even on some military bases, there are predatory lenders and used car salesmen and stuff like that are just dying to lend these below the poverty line young soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines money to buy a car and buy garbage that they can't afford at just excruciatingly high rates, because they know that those people have a guaranteed paycheck provided by the federal government, and if they get in trouble with their finances, they have free and mandatory credit counseling that will force them to pay their loans first before anything else. And so if you get in trouble and you're not paying your bills, they'll just confine you to your barracks and garnish your wages. And so it's a guaranteed win for them. And it's just the most scummy thing ever. Loan opportunities from Central Core Bank. Yeah. Don't do it, Starman, whatever. Don't do it. The Flight Academy application is going to make more sense here in a second, but the character has, your character has applied to the Flight Academy at this point in Squadron 42. The interesting part about that is this is, right before the Battle of Vega, and so we don't have the timeline for the rest of Squadron 42 after the Battle of Vega. All we know is that at some point we became a pilot, and now we're out flying around. We don't know how long that process took. We don't know when it is exactly post Battle of Vega that we become the wingman for Mark Hamill himself. And this is just an update about the Satiball League. So Satiball is like the futuristic, space zero-G version of like a whole bunch of conglomeration of sports. Socially Confused, good to see you. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Citizen Ninja says Navient Corp recently had to pay a $1.7 billion settlement for deceptive and predatory lending practices. Yeah, it just all sorts of scummy stuff. Yeah, let's keep. I So I dropped that link in the chat above. If you guys hadn't seen it, go ahead and pull that up and save it for later. But we'll watch it here in a few minutes after we get to a part later on in the video. We'll watch it together and look at what Jail is talking about. But I'm also going to drop another link in chat. We aren't going to watch this one, but I did a podcast about a year ago. It's about an hour long that is all the lore surrounding Robert Space Industries and why they're the ones making the Bengal, but it also gives us hints about them making other military capital ships and gives us those hints before this video came out and we learned about these guys. And so it's a really interesting reading, and the citations are in there. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, check it out. And please give me a like and subscribe on YouTube. All right, let's continue.
No.
I'll write as soon as I can. Stay safe. Your loving son.
And so I'm gonna piggyback on something that Paul mentioned when he was going through his watch of this. Your player character is sending a letter to their I don't remember if it was the mom or just parent or whatever. But because everybody's on high alert, everybody is assuming that the Vandal are going to attack at any time, and so not sure. This is something that has been done across the military for ages. It's not something you necessarily do when you're just going on a routine patrol, but when you are going on a mission where you are seeking out contact or where you have good intel that an attack is coming or something like that. I've done it myself, done it many times. It's a thing where people have their pre-battle rituals. A lot of times people will send a letter home or make a recording or something like that just in case. Some people will listen to music or do other different things. But that's what they're doing, and I really like that they went through and they were true to things that are not only formal customs and traditions and stuff, but also informal things like this.
Never gets old, does it?
Sir.
Gillian Anderson. Oh,
Goodies.
God.
I used to do the same thing when I was first coming up. Post up to the flight deck whenever I could to watch the launches. Have you seen the F-8s up close?
No, sir.
The thing's a beast. Nimble, too.
12 maneuvering thrusters and 3 mains. It sure sounds like it.
So you could definitely tell that this is our player character because somebody created this character, and the face that you made is applied over a face that's doing the acting, whereas this was full on motion capped with her face and everything. But you can the motion capture they did on the lead characters and the actors is just really, really, really good. The quality is so good. Shut up, don't talk.
Sir.
Captain McLaren to the bridge. Captain McLaren to the bridge.
I saw you apply to the flight academy again.
Yes, sir.
Keep your head up. Took me a couple times before I got in.
Thank you, sir.
The F-8 is definitely a beast. I wish they would let you see the cruiser behind his head. They totally had me on this. I was like, did they really make Earth? No.
Welcome to Cloud Imperium Game.
Shori Katsuni, we're Starman, and so we don't know what rank of Starman, but Starman is just kind of like saying, a seaman, first, second, third class or whatever. but I believe we are a gunner on that javelin. Again, I forget what the name of it was. The UES Gauntlet. There it is. Yeah, I think we're a turret gunner. And this is a really cool shot, though. Really cool to see. This is the exterior of. Now, CIG doesn't own this whole building, but they have leased multiple floors of it, as far as I recall. They don't own the whole building, as far as I know. But yeah. Yeah, was that image? Where is the image of there's 4 Zeuses, 4 variants of the Zeus. And I remember someone posted in like, hey, what's this 4th one? And John Cruz like, don't worry about it. And I don't remember if that was on the RSI Zeus transmission comlink page or if that was in Jump Point. Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, this is just a really cool shot. I'm really glad they did this. I think that, yeah, it may be a racer Zeus. I don't know. It seems weird there would be a racer, but I hesitate to speculate on what else, might be. And maybe it's built for distance, like long distance racing.
Games Manchester Studio. I'm Chris Roberts, and I'm pleased to announce we have just passed a major milestone. Squadron 42 is now feature complete and has entered its polish phase. To celebrate this milestone, we've gathered some of our core leadership together to share what this means.
When are they going to sell that shirt?
As
CIG?
Chris says, we've moved into the polish phase of Squadron 42, which means extra emphasis on ensuring things feel fun. This means focusing on the...
So don't mind the frame rate on this. Like, this is just a gameplay demo. The frame rate isn't going to be great. They're also recording. We are still waiting on getting Vulcan. We don't know when this was captured. I know that the guy the cinematics guy who did this video, did all these captures from this part of this trailer, has been working on it for months, like since late spring, early summer. Yeah, and so there's a lot of things that will mess with the frame rate. So don't take this as performance, but pretty cool shot. And of course, we get to see the Cygnus mining tick. And a lot of people have thought that this is a drone. I think that it's pilotable still. I don't think they ever took that away because you can see what looks like the cab right there. But really cool shot flying through here.
small and large elements of the game, such as dialing in combat encounters, but also looking at the feel of how you control your character or vehicle and making sure it's immersive as possible. We've paid extra attention to how your character reacts when in their ship, so that you feel like an actual pilot, whether that's firing your weapons, taking hits, or punching the afterburners to get to cover. Ship AI has also seen huge improvements, with closer engagement distances and more varied behaviors, and with our new precision targeting mode, the action has never been as close.
The environments are pretty interesting too, because like if we go back a little bit, we don't know what this is. This could be that giant station that we saw in the visual teaser or the most recent trailer, or it could be something different. It's hard to tell because we can only see part of it, but I just love looking at, everybody's looking at the HUD and the combat, but I like looking at the background and seeing the different environments because, it's a whole nother star system. Like we're all going nuts because we're finally getting Pyro and we've had Stanton for a long time, but we're going to be playing in a third entirely new and different star system with stuff that has been handcrafted over years and lots of really cool points of interest and a lot of great polish. So yeah. And then, I forget what day. So I have the schedule I'm going to be streaming obviously tonight, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and then Thursday night, and Friday night, to try and get caught up on all the CitizenCon segments. But I can't wait to go over more of this UI stuff because it just looks so good. I love I forget what Bone called it, the casting of HUD or MFDs to your HUD on your visor versus just the HUD on your ship. Just super great. I think it looks awesome. And check out that radar. Compared to what we have now, God, that is slick. It is sexy. Thanks, Ain't the Drift. Really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. It's all posted up in the Discord. I'll also be posting it on Twitter. But every night at 8 o'clock for, let's see, today's Tuesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. And then on Sunday at 9 p.m. I have to look at the time for that. I'm going to be on Paul's 24-hour captain's table. Let me look to see what time it is.
With the aim now on polish, we've organised the project into self-sufficient strike teams, so we can focus on individual areas to deliver the best experience.
Get out of sight, the Cutlass is gonna spot you.
This allows us to bring all disciplines together with a unified vision of enhancing the gameplay by seamlessly blending it with polished visuals, final cinematic performances, and our ever-improving technology.
You didn't see the boat, kid. You're good to keep going.
We're also dialing in gameplay features, such as the ship flight model for both atmosphere and space, which covers master mode.
Look at all these radar pings. That's a lot of missiles. We are about to have a bad time. Yeah, I needed that radar today in Pyro. Oh gosh. I'm looking forward to trying Pyro tomorrow morning. I'll be dropping off my kid at his Montessori school in the morning, and then come back and play for a couple hours before I have to go teach. But yeah, lots of inbound missiles. And yeah, that boat was really cool. I'm looking forward to, hopefully we get boats in the PU. Maybe eventually. Would be cool. And the other interesting thing, and here I'm going to back up a little bit, is we don't know what this planet is for certain. But there's been a lot of speculation, and we'll see why here further on in the video. You can see up here, let's move back a little bit. You can see there's one here in the middle. That's one of these atmospheric processors for oh gosh, what's the word? Terraforming. And we're going to see more of those here in a second. And because of what is said, it makes everybody think that this is either Gainy or Odin 2. But yeah, so they're not terraforming lasers, they're atmospheric processors. However, we don't know what that technology looks like. It could be a beam. I don't know. We'll see. But I looked up the lore, and terraforming in the UEE and the universe of Star Citizen is usually done by a combination of orbital and then surface atmospheric processors and terraforming equipment. I love the terrain.
You didn't see the boat, kid. You're good to keep going.
We're also dialing in gameplay features, such as the ship flight model for both atmosphere and space, which covers master modes, control surfaces, and our gold standard HUD and MFDs.
Moisture processors in need of astromechs.
Our interaction system for both the world and your character have also
This looks so much better than the one we have right now. I can't wait for us to get this in game. Come on, Zane, Bian, and Bone. Get us all the UI stuff as soon as possible, because this just absolutely changes everything about the game for us.
Action system for both the world and your character have also seen additional improvements, allowing us to hone and craft environmental puzzles unique to each location, while allowing us to tell the story of the world around you.
beautiful UI.
The military multi-tool is an essential piece of equipment for every pilot that integrates all attachments into a single handheld device and allows us to create really interesting challenges, including physics-based puzzles using our updated rope tech.
Aether Drift, yes, the map is generated dynamically based off of information in the environment. They don't have to. Now, what they do have to do is do markups for individual things, but they can do that systemically. So if they put, mark up a door and just say everything in the door category will have its frame marked up in this color, based off of whether it's locked or unlocked or anything like that. They can do all these things systemically, so that way they don't have to go up and mark up each individual one. But as far as the terrain goes, as well as like structures, because this will not only show terrain, but it'll show structures on it. It kind of imagine it sort of like an overhead view of what we get when we ping something in game now, and that's essentially what it's doing, but continuously in an area around you. So it'll also be really handy for caves and navigating caves so we don't get lost. Rope physics.
Unidentified vessels, this is the UEE Navy. Power down your ships and stand by for processing.
Yeah, you can fuck off the coil's ass.
You can fuck off.
God damn it.
Our scanning, targeting, and marker system has also seen an overhaul, allowing us to highlight only the essential information that you need, such as key objectives, mission targets, and high-level scan information, while keeping your overall view as clean as possible.
That skank! Skank him off me!
I'm looking forward to being able to do the zoom thing. I think the
Tactical
zoom thing is a good
FPS
idea.
combat and stealth, which has seen a suite of improvements.
Oh, look at that looting. Oh god. It's so good. And so quick and clean. Give me now, please. The loot goblin needs this UI for looting. The loot goblin is me in my spaceship.
From improved looting, weapon feel and balance, realistic scopes, and smoother locomotion, alongside our new and improved FPS radar and scanner that provides you an overview of the battlefield, but at the cost.
You can tell that it's a dev playing these and not somebody pro, because watch this guy jump down and shoot the wall in front of him.
Radar and scanner that provides you an overview of the battlefield, but at the cost of ramping up your own emissions. We've also seen the introduction of our Maelstrom-powered destructible environment, which adds a layer of dynamism to the experience, alongside our improved AI, that can now have hundreds of combinations of traits that allow us to create unique and challenging combat encounters that really push your tactical awareness and skill.
Yeah, sure, Katsuni. I don't think it's unless you're like maybe trying to, hit something at longer range, because we are going to have the ranges are going to be getting pushed out a little bit in terms of weapons, even though dogfighting is meant to get brought in closer. But yeah, for longer range, shooting at bigger ships, trying to target, specifically target turrets or, when you scan and you find components or something like that. Definitely. But other than that, like maybe just getting a quick zoomed in look, or trying to hit shots that are a little bit farther away until you're getting close. But yeah, definitely not as much for dogfighting unless you're at a little bit further range. Yeah, when Private File gets the front line. A lot of people have said they don't like the UI. I like it. I do like the scanning UI thing. Obviously, you're signaling yourself really bad to letting everyone know you're there, but having that and being able to have a brief representation around you of where they are and have things show up in your HUD, it comes with a cost, because now they know exactly where you are. So yeah, the flight panel showed a better use of zoom than the squadron panel for sure. Good point. Human. Almost dead. 19%. Just in the nick of time. Okay, and everybody's like, okay, it's scanning to show you where your enemies are, downed or otherwise. All I can think about is medical gameplay. Look, it's showing you the skeleton. It could show it shows you they're red, but if they're like wounded, it can show you show you injuries. I think that looks so much better than what we have in game right now. And it can also show you more detailed information on injuries versus just leg red, leg yellow. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the UI team can do with scanning and the I don't know what you'd call these sort of holograms, but for medical gameplay. Gib, please. And what happened with this grenade? Watch. Like, it was just an itty bitty little poof. But I like how, see, he's cooking the grenade. I'll pull it back a little bit farther. Let's see. Show that one more time. So he pinged right as he's cooking the grenade, so he knows where the enemy is, and he's still in cover. So he can throw that grenade from within cover, but you have to obviously time it right without having to, expose himself. But, get a good idea of where that grenade's going to go and where that enemy is. I think it's a pretty smart tactic. Ooh, look, that blood drug level's getting pretty high. And if you saw briefly there, one of the NPCs was going to the downed NPC to try and revive him and get him up. You could see him sort of like leaning down to pick him up. Oh, that was cool. See that? He's down, but what does this symbol mean? Does this symbol mean that he can be revived? Or is he dead? You can see that there's that red spot right there. Does that mean anything? I don't know. Kind of cool. If I was that drugged up, I would charge the enemy too. Yeah, when do I get my space meth so I can be like the Germans back in WW2, fighting all night long. That's a good point, Sherry Katsuni. Maybe stun lock and he gets up when the circle is finished. Yeah, don't know. I just thought it was really interesting, and I don't think I've seen anybody call it out that guy was dead or downed. We didn't see that icon above any of the other ones that were down, and so I feel like maybe that means that he's downed and not dead, whereas the other guys were dead. I don't know, just speculation, but pretty cool to see that. A hovering UI element like that. Dutch Courage should be a buff. Yeah, Dutch Courage should be the name of a beverage, a drink. So the only thing I don't like about this is it doesn't give you much in the way of VFX feedback that you are actually cutting this. It like making contact with it. It's so bright, it's washed out. You can't really see your cutting beam, making contact with the metal.
We play and review the builds regularly and call out action points in each level from start to finish and where we need to improve the gameplay.
It didn't look like he finished that, that cut. This is an
incredibly rewarding stage of development for me and the team, as the ultimate vision.
Does anyone else hear like the Mission Impossible music, or think about Resident Evil with this scene? It's just gonna get sliced off at the top of the head. Dun 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 dun.
Vision of the game is realized, allowing us to craft an experience that we can be really proud of. One specific
Look at that,
area that I'm
rolling
excited
over
to
while
dive
floating.
in is the feeling of the player interacting with the world around.
Another good example of the mini map showing little interactable things. I don't know if that's a person right there, but showing things that are interactable, whether those are doors or not. But just a dynamic mini map, just showing it, the immediate area around you, and hopefully, like if you pull up the area map, it will retain areas you've already scanned and explored. Like it doesn't have, give you a fog of war. So obviously you don't know if there's people in there, but it will remember that there's doors here, and this is what this, the layout of this floor looks like and such.
Around them,
Patching you in.
as it's a core component of Squadron and really grounds the world that you inhabit. We've made sure that any interaction in the environment is physically represented by a character animation to keep you in the moment and fully immerse you in the experience that we've created.
I love the fist button push. I love that. People were complaining about the whole diegetic interactions, so that you actually interact with the environment when you do the thing, and it goes so fast, like you don't even notice it. There's no way that's going to slow you down in your game, but it just looks cool.
Ultimately, this is the final phase of gameplay iteration before we fully transition into optimization and stability.
This is the final phase. Here, let's listen to that one more time.
Ultimately, this is the final phase of gameplay iteration before we
Final phase of gameplay iteration.
fully transition into optimization and stability.
Before we fully transition into optimization and stability. And so that's one thing I think a lot of people get confused. So they're like, oh, okay, well, they're in this feature complete phase, they're in polishing. And then when they get done polishing, then they'll do polishing or they'll do optimization and stability. No, those things they occur concurrently. They've been doing optimizations and stability the entire time. But, they're going to, really focus in on it once they get this polish done. Things in the polishing is for things like animations, getting things sunk up, little things here and there, making sure things feel right, but it's content complete, it's feature complete. They're just polishing every little thing to make sure it looks good and feels right. Yeah, clippings. If you remember if you saw the Life in the First Person demo, we'll be watching that. I don't remember if it's tomorrow or the next day, where the guy got stabbed in the neck, and you can see the knife, clipping through the back of his neck when it's not supposed to. So yeah. So this is one of those atmospheric processors. Here, we'll start it at the beginning.
To optimization and stability.
Yeah, this is one of those atmospheric processors like we saw when we were on the boat. And so that's what makes me think that this is the same planet. It's a pretty safe assumption, but it's pretty cool to see what's going on this planet as far as the storms. It's just really weird to think that, is this actively terraforming? Were we on a planet that was actively being terraformed and yet it had life on it already in trees? That's the part that's kind of confusing to me. Are these left over from the terraforming process and they haven't been decommissioned or whatever? But that's a hell of a storm looking thing. It looks like something that might be occurring during terraforming. Who knows?
On the road to release.
Agent Trejo, this is Colton. Come back.
Agent Trejo is special agent in charge of the Odin system for the advocacy. So she's like an FBI head agent type thing. Look at all those things. Look at all these atmospheric processors. It just, maybe they just got finished terraforming. It just seems kind of crazy that that there's already plants and animals on the planet living there, and yet these things are still here. I guess we'll find out more later, but I couldn't find anything lore-wise in the Odin system confirming that anything had been terraformed. There was just a mention, I think it was either Gainy or Odin 2, that said it had a thin breathable atmosphere or barely breathable atmosphere, but it had no mention of it having been terraformed or being actively terraformed. But they're calling out to Agent Trejo to see where she is. And if you remember from the vertical slice, that's who we went in and rescued down on Gainey in that facility after finding her Avenger beat up and disabled, and you go on board. Oh, ads. And I'm just going to hold for the ads and then let me know when they stop and we will resume. And if you guys sub and you're just hanging out, just chill for a second. We'll wait. Ads are done. All right, cool. Let's pick up where we left off. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate your patience.
Always trips me out to see terraforming setups like this. Webb tried explaining how atmosphere processors work. Really shows how far we've come. Who the hell is she?
And the crazy thing is, if you go to the Galactopedia and you just search terraform or terraforming, it mostly just tells you about the terraforming incidents that went wrong. And there's a long list of them. But I haven't found any mentions in the lore, and I'd have to go back and do another review of planets being actively terraformed in the current timeline of Star Citizen. And so I think that that's really interesting that either it was just recently terraformed or has been being actively terraformed. So it'll be interesting to see how that reflects when the game gets released in the lore.
With the transition of Squadron to polish phase, we've had the opportunity to find additional moments within the existing narrative to add subtle interactions where appropriate. It's been tremendously exciting to play through these areas and find places to augment the mood, support gameplay, and further embellish our story and characters.
So yeah, man, I can't believe it. They said I've got to wait another 2 years before I can reapply. So that's why I figured I'd get a job trying in security, because that's, I can get some hours flying in the cockpit and whatnot. Can't hurt, right? Exactly.
We've also been capturing pickups for our lead female player character, as well as wildlines for our various enemies that you all will encounter throughout the game on both foot and in the cockpit. These consist of a range of responses and reactions.
Okay, so Moraine Lewis, Moraine Sarge. Let's see.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Now it just came through. That was weird. There's a delay. Aether Drift just subscribed at tier 1 for 3 months. Thank you so much for the subscription. I really appreciate it, Aether Drift. And just a reminder to everybody, if you're hanging out and chatting, you're watching, and this is your first time or you haven't hung out very much, any and all monetization I get from Twitch and YouTube goes 100% to charity. Everything I get, I donate in 100% and then some to stackup.org. So when I get a payout, like the next payout will probably be like $80 or something. I donate that and I just top it off to the next highest $50. So it'll be $100, or if it's over $100, I'll top it up to $150. So yeah, really appreciate your support, Aether Drift. Real glad to have you a part of the community and hanging out this evening. So we'll read into this text because it's going to feed into the next scene.
Player character, as well as wildlines for our various enemies.
If the player successfully hacks the door, it slides open to reveal Lewis, Diaz, and the rest of the Marines. Hell yes.
So say we all.
So say we all. Maury, how you doing? And the rest of the Marines. So we get to fight alongside the UEE Marines. I am so beyond hyped to fight alongside UEE Marines in Squadron 42. Because up until now, we hadn't really seen anything of that. But apparently, we'll be able to hacking. We'll talk more about that later. We join in with a Marine squad
that you all will encounter throughout the game on both foot and in
Damn, nice one. Since you're here, might as well jump in on the fight.
Cockpit. These consist of a range of responses and reactions that you as the player can trigger.
The Marines all take position around Sergeant.
Which has been the culmination of efforts by the game.
So these are the Marines right up here in the front. These are the Marine armor. And this is you in your pilot suit with your light armor. Obviously, this is not the male character. This is a female player character. But again, Marine armor, Marine suits look super cool. It always cracks me up that we're like, oh yeah, this fighter pilot's going to get in on the gunfight with the UE Marines, who are, hardcore killers, trained special forces and, planet invaders and such.
Gameplay and AI teams. This means that you're going to have to tangle with some very smart and reactive bad guys.
So look at these shipjackers and look at these EVA suits that they're wearing. Hey, pilots get SEER training. Yeah. But these to me look like EVA suits, and they look like they have some sort of thruster on them. And so I wonder if this is what EVA suits are kind of going to look like for us in the future. Not quite sure, because eventually, our thruster fuel is going to be limited. We're not going to have unlimited. You're going to not every suit is going to be an EVA suit. You're going to have to wear the right equipment in order to be able to jet around an EVA, and you'll have a limited amount of thruster fuel. But these guys are the shipjackers.
Reactive bad guys to complete your mission.
And the shipjackers are the ones that have these like heavily modified looking ships. And we saw the sort of silhouettes of these in the visual teaser in 2019, 2020, I think it was 2019. And so this is the first time we're getting to see them, it's sort of final art. And I got to say, this cutlass looks cool. And I love the idea of graffiti on ships. But then you've got like these lights and everything strung up all over it. Like, this thing's nuts. It looks like a homeless camp turned into a spaceship. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the cutlass, but this I definitely want to see. If the Marines don't shoot and move in the isosceles, I will need to speak to their manager. Yeah, you and me both. Where's your squad leader? I do kind of wish that as you were EVAing around using thrusters, that you had like little contrails behind you from your thrusters. And then obviously we recognize the M50. The M50 is often used by the advocacy. So this is probably Trejo right here, getting ambushed by the shipjackers.
At the heart of this immersive adventure, you'll find cutting-edge cinematic storytelling, thoughtfully crafted to fully immerse you into your story.
We fight today! So in 40 years from now, when you're surrounded by everything and everyone you hold dear, and they ask, what did you do in the Battle of Vega? You can look them in the eye and say,
I held the line.
I held the line. Men and women of the Second Fleet, I am
So I assume if you're hanging out here with me, you are aware of the cast for Squadron 42. Oh, sorry, wrong button. So if you aren't aware, this is the top cast. These are the leading actors in Squadron 42. Obviously, that's Gary Oldman, who's Ernst Bishop. Behind him, Gary Oldman is Admiral Ernst Bishop, who's commanding the Second Fleet from his flagship, the UES Kergary, which is a Bengal-class carrier. The captain of that ship is Mark Strong, Captain Thomas Wade. Mark Hamill is Lieutenant Commander Steve Old Man Cotton. Liam Cunningham is Captain Noah White. He's the captain of the UES Stanton, which is the ship that we're on when we become a pilot. Gillian Anderson, Captain McLaren. She is Gary Oldman's daughter. Gee, I can't imagine what sort of plot twists might get involved there. But she's the captain of that, what was that javelin we saw earlier in the video? Andy Serkis plays one of the Van Duel. Sandy Roberts is even in it. Rona Mitra is Executive Officer Kelly. She's the XO for Liam Cunningham, Captain Noah White on the Stanton. Jack Houston plays Cal Mason, who's the squadron leader for Squadron 42. John Rice Davies is Randall Graves. He's the chief of security on Shubin Station. The Gauntlet. Thank you so much, Ether Drift. And then I know that I could have sworn Henry Cavill was in the cast, and I don't remember who he plays. I could have. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But stirring speech.
Proud to stand with you today. Good luck. Push your button.
Nice speech.
Any word from the recon team?
Not yet.
Well, let's get into position.
Throughout the polish phase, our team is taking every opportunity to push things to the next level.
Tell me you're expecting company?
This is not good.
The Cine team is focused on finalizing edit lock on all of our big action as well as all smaller character sequences.
I could have pulled this off of the Galactopedia.
Yeah, probably, but I think their solar mass calculations are wrong, though.
Well, this is ridiculous.
How so?
We are now able to adjust our shot composition to final cameras thanks to recently crafted space vistas and level up.
There we go. My bad. There, I'll pull this up. So Cal Mason is in Squadron 42. According to the wiki, it says that Ryan Enright is flies an F-8 Lightning and he appears to command the squadron. I'm not sure. But he is in the Squadron 42 trailer that we got several years ago. But yeah, so Henry Cavill is in Squadron 42, plays Ryan Enright. He's part of the 42nd Squadron alongside Cal Mason, who is Jack Houston. Yeah, it says Cal Mason is a member of the 42nd Squadron, appears in Squadron 42 during the Battle of Vega. He flies an Anvil F-7A Hornet Mark II and appears to be under the command of Ryan Enright. So yeah. Obviously, we can see big difference in the polish. Squadron 42 cinematic. Meet Trejo at Fortune's Cross. Fortune's Cross is a station in orbit of Blizzard. Was it Odin 2 or Odin 3? We had recent mention of it in a monthly report.
About being content complete now.
It'd be nice to know how much of a shitstorm we're flying into.
More like a hellstorm.
Now, the animations are good. They're just a little out of sync, but that's what polishing is for. I've seen people be critical of this, and it's like, that's what polishing is for. That's what they're doing now, is getting these things all in sync and making sure it looks good. Roy McAvoy Tin Cup 07, good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Blizzard says, I want to say Odin 3, but I'm a bit distracted. Why? Are you distracted by me, or are you distracted by something else, Blizzard? Are you working at your other job? What do I pay you for?
Storm Blue, one you ain't gonna fly out of.
Shut up.
Now, I hadn't...
Little subtle detail. Look at the bruising on his face. Been through a little bit of attitude readjustment.
Shut up.
Now, I hadn't seen another ship that wasn't trying...
Okay, so here's Captain Mark Strong again. Mark Hamill. And then this is Jack Houston playing Cal Mason. And if you haven't read it, Cal Mason is like a hero in the Star Citizen universe. He's like a hotshot pilot. There's an entire series of like fan fiction devoted to him because he's an incredible pilot. It's really good reading. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest check it out. If you need help finding it, I've got a link to it. Just hop in my Discord and I will happily drop that link to you.
trying to kill me in days, let alone a hauler, let alone a Jean. So you can imagine my surprise. Let alone a hauler,
Look at Mark Strong's face. Look at how detailed that is. They did such a great job of capturing him. Like, yeah, okay, he's bald. That's easy. But the wrinkles, the 5 o'clock shadow, the eyes, everything. I mean, that detail is just nuts. Yeah, Astropub loves Cal Mason. Partly because Cal Mason is played by Jack Houston. He's a good-looking guy. But also just because the stories surrounding Cal Mason are just super fun to read. So, I mean, he's the lore master. It's good lore.
Lola Jean. So you can imagine my surprise.
Yeah, his isn't as refined compared to Mark Strong's.
Detailed lighting passes can be done on hero sequences so we can show our cast and convey their emotions in the best light possible. And we're making sure our cinematics are triggering as fluid as we can craft them so they form a coherent concerto with the rest of the player's narrative experience.
Whoops. I pressed the wrong button. Sorry. That's good enough.
On hero sequences so we can show our cast and convey their emotions in the best light possible. And we're making sure our cinematics are triggering as fluid as we can craft them so they form a coherent concerto with the rest of the player's narrative experience.
Mr. Wexler, this is Lieutenant Commander Colton.
Oh, Commander, hey. Julian Wexler, I'm the field manager of this little operation. Welcome aboard the Archon. What brings the Navy to this little corner of the universe?
Animation's
We got you
out of
flying with
sync.
Lieutenant Commander Colton. He's one of our best.
Need some
As
polishing.
others will share,
but still,
this is the
looks
most
really good.
rewarding chapter of development, which allows us to
Chronometer.
truly experience the visceral and oftentimes emotional moments that our narrative provides.
How did you handle it after?
Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn. Yeah, that guy is a schmarmy little.
Rika.
I'm not sure I handled anything. It helps to remember that stuff like this is supposed to hurt.
I've never been good at dealing with problems I can't fix.
Well, this is one that you don't have to do alone.
That's good to know.
For the animation teams, polish phase means refining the social aspects of Squadron 42 that occur between the various missions and getting the behaviors implemented across all of its chapters. Here we're
Flight deck
dialing in
looks
the
so
hangar to
cool.
make it as immersive and believable an experience as possible.
That'll do it. Oh, done. Okay,
Rope physics for refueling. I love the air shield effect as the MPV flies through.
We're getting a weird after.
I feel that. Anyway, I'm off.
For example, we're launching off a space carrier, but we still ground the feel in real-world actions, refueling, repairing, and inspecting, and making sure that your next flight mission is a success. This means we're looking out for pops, hiccups, or awkward transitions, and ensuring that everything
The True Naz show. Oh, so funny thing is, so I finally got around to going to the post office to send. I sent a patch to Blizzrad because he's my mod, and I sent one to Nazareth. I need to send a couple to Atur Kel and Nightcob as well. But so I got one of the True Naz pins from the whatever that company's name is that does True Naz from their booth at CitizenCon, and so I sent one to Nazareth.
flows and looks like all the great mocap performances we've captured.
Happy space medic noises. Look at this med bay. Oh, and again, you've got your interior map on the Idris. Assuming this is the Idris, pretty sure. But yeah, that looks super cool. Super cool.
Let's ready some extra ice packs out of storage. Whenever gunners are on full rotation, you can always count on at least one of them getting hurt.
We also have you covered in everyday life. The medical staff work diligently for their patients, whether they're players or crew.
Let's zoom back in a little bit.
For their patients, whether
Some
they're
medical
players or
office.
crew.
Those are recovery beds.
We really want you to feel part of an authentic crew, an important part of the UEE Navy in an enormous universe of people going about their everyday lives.
Such cool animations. Socially Confused, I'm almost positive that's the Idris, just because I've seen the footage from when those Russian players were managed to clip into it when it had an interior in a recent patch, as well as there was some leaks, but I'm almost positive that's the Idris because it has a number of those recovery looking beds, but also a handful of treatment beds that look like they're probably tier 2 beds. Yeah. I got an email for Pyro today, and I just didn't have time to test it. I'm going to give it a try tomorrow. There's still definitely a chance that you might get an email. So hang in there.
Let's go ahead and clear for takeoff. Ground crew, prep bay for takeoff. Copy that. Hangar, ready for launch. Takeoff approved, Baron 2. You have the ball.
Ready and hold on as you're launched off the deck of the carrier.
Baron 2, you are cleared for launch. Have a safe flight, Baron 2.
And Walker 300, I guess we're just going to need to uphold that tradition ourselves. Xylo and Burke's chat said that it should be all concierge. So if you are that and didn't get an email, you might be able to get in. Yeah, if you haven't run the launcher, when the launcher updates, if you're able to see and download the preview channel, I think you should be able to get in. A lot of people had the emails going to like their junk or not focused things, but yeah, worth checking out tomorrow morning.
We want you to not only decide how you play the game, but to feel as if the people you interact with are in that world with you.
I would have never thought a shotgun could be so pretty. Damn, this R97 is sleek as hell.
Yes, I know he flagged the hell out of us. It's a game.
Like a lot of other weapons in Gemini's arsenal, it has a higher rate of fire than most guns of its type.
We're working to support a feel of authenticity through world traversals, running, jumping, and climbing, interactions with objects and the environment.
This must be on a Starfarer. Sucks for these guys.
Solid weapon gameplay and enemy reactions, as well as combat realities, such as weapon malfunctions. Or in close encounters of the more lethal kind. Ooh, that's gonna hurt in the morning.
That clipping of that knife in the neck.
As we continue to focus on the quality experience, we've been working closely with our art teams, and it's been exciting to see their environments come to life alongside us.
Aetherdrift, by flagging, he pointed the muzzle, the weapon at you, particularly when it had a mag in it. So it's like one of the weapon safety rules is never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. So yeah, he definitely broke that rule, and as an armorer, he should know better.
While animation and design have been populating the locations, polish phase for my teams means making huge advancements in the quality of our characters and environments. We've established our standard with recognizable characters like Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, and Gary Oldman, and we're now applying this to the rest of the cast.
So that's a good point. They've established to some of the characters, but not all of them are up to the standard, but they'll continue to polish them.
Identifying any remaining tech requirements that need to be closed out. The story of Squadron 42 takes you through a variety of diverse locations of varying scales and styles. We shared glimpses of several environments before, and there's still...
Where are we in this? Are we on a Vandal ship? This is crazy. This is wild looking.
...styles. We shared glimpses of several environments before.
Does not look human to me.
And there's still plenty out there for you to discover.
Look at the size of that thing. It is nuts.
One of the main challenges the art team has had to face during the development of Squadron 42 is ensuring the visuals are complementary to the narrative of the script. The mood and feeling of a space.
Look at this little guy. What is this thing? What is this little guy with all the thrusters jutting out of it? He's adorable. I want one. Give me one of these with LTI. Yeah, super Fifth Element vibes. 100% Socially Confused. Not only from the little ship, it also kind of makes me think of the Nebuchadnezzar from The Matrix. But what is this place? Where are we? This whole structure thing is just crazy looking. We've never seen this before. I have no idea what this is from the lore. This is entirely new, but it's super cool looking.
Is just as important to us as it is making sure we hit the visual quality that CIG has become known for.
Oh, good. We can't hack it from this side. Graves, we got a locked door. Can you give us access?
No, I'm afraid that's a negative, Steve. I would have to add you to our system to give you override permissions, and there's a lot involved in that. It won't happen quickly.
Okay, we'll figure something out.
Did you guys get the idea that Graves was hiding something, that he was stalling? Does Graves have divided loyalty between his former wingman, squadron mate, Mark Hamill, and his new employer, Shubin Interstellar? Yeah, that seems super sus to me. You weren't fooling anybody there, John Rice Davies. What the hell, Gimli?
Everything you see during the campaign has been heavily...
Hello, Xi'an cargo ship. That has taken a flippin' beating. And these Xi'an cargo pods are really interesting and different compared to what we have for the Raylan. I'm going to pull something up real quick and put it on screen. Give me 1 second. Because I believe... We'll see if it's still there. Come on, internet. There it is. So, Xi'an Cargo. Construction and implementation of interior and exterior approved concepts. So, this ship is probably not, fully, final art or anything like that. It's had enough of an exterior mesh to be able to do this, as well as whatever we're exploring, whatever interior aspects we get to explore of it. Maybe that's where we were in this scene farther back here. Maybe this is the Xi'an, we're inside of the Xi'an cargo ship inside, at this point. We don't know. But yeah, it was on the progress tracker at one point.
Everything you see during the campaign has been heavily inspired by the classics of 70s and 80s sci-fi, but with a modern twist. We want everything you see to feel like it has a soul, its own personality, and tells of a history long before you arrived. Crafting interesting flight spaces and their connecting tissue has been one of the more unique challenges we've needed to overcome for Squadron. Developing our VDB tech to blend seamlessly between tighter traversal spaces and into wider space vistas and planets has proved incredibly difficult but rewarding, ensuring that Squadron flows seamlessly from one chapter to the next without
such a crazy environment, and then you're flying in with a whole squadron of other fighters. Aether Drift, they should have a lot of the mocap and voice acting already done for episode 2 and 3, part 2 and 3, whatever you want to call them. And I imagine when they had them come in for the pickups for episode 1, I imagine they probably did a lot of the pickups for episode 2 and 3, especially for people like John Rhys Davies and Mark Hamill, who aren't getting any younger. Same with oh gosh, Admiral Bishop. What's his face? Yeah. So I would assume that they probably did that wisely in order to update those things, but that's just an assumption. Yeah, Gary Oldman, thank you. Yeah, I want to fly through that with my Perseus and see the lightning bounce off the hull. Yep. And I mean, use your antennae to recharge your batteries.
Interruption. Creating a diverse array.
And where is this? What are we flying through to then look down on this very terrestrial looking planet? It's got greenery on it. Those look like roads to me. Where is this the planet we saw earlier? Except for I don't see any of the atmospheric processors.
Of locations is essential to us. Our environments need to work from a variety of scales. We need to pay close attention to detail, whether we're working in a dirty engineering vent or navigating the debris of a dying star, wondering what may be around that next corner, or even who may live there, how would they have survived, and what state of mind may they be in.
The bridge of the Idris, and I love how they're actually using UI.
We've worked closely with our social teams in delivering a cohesive social experience when you're taking some downtime from our refined flight and FPS missions, or even missions of the more eerie kind.
Danger Hobo, not that I've seen. I'm in the Army National Guard though, so I mean, I can't speak for other branches. I don't know if that's a thing. Or maybe if it's in other militaries, maybe that's a British Navy thing. I have no idea. Yeah, Northern Trooper, the UI moved. It was actually interacting with them. They called Bone called them Fluff UI. And even though they actually don't perform a function when he's doing things, it looks like it, which is like little details, but it goes a long way towards the immersion.
We'll be introducing new space.
oh man, this space station looks huge and cool. I'm pretty sure this is that giant mining facility that we saw before. But keep an eye out on these thrusters right here, and then in the next scene.
Stations on a massive scale, all brought together and designed to be as tangible as possible. We've thought about their function, their age, and
look at the size of this cargo ship. It is massive. And a lot of people have been looking at it and be like, that bridge looks an awful lot like the Pioneers Bridge. So maybe this is a consolidated Outland capital class cargo hauler. I don't know. I just hope it's a real thing and we end up getting it for the people in my community, for you guys.
and try to ensure there's a progression in artistic style.
Black Intellect says, calling ladies sir is a well-used sci-fi trope going back to the 70s at least. Ah, good to know. I was not aware. Yeah, I assume that it's a thing. I'm just not familiar with it in the U.S. military, but I mean, very well could be from a common thing from other militaries. So yeah, now that I think about it, Captain Janeway from Voyager. So it doesn't look Crusader to me, but look, you can see down through here these openings. I don't know if those are for containers or what, but yeah.
With each station as you progress through the game.
I'm looking forward to visiting the station though. It's huge and cool looking. Look at this noodle sushi bar. I want to go here. I would eat here in real life. Thank you for pointing that out, North End Trooper. Yep. It's the future, man. Definitely going to eat some noodles tomorrow in Pyro.
The teams are working incredibly hard, ramping up the detail and quality to match the breadth of our vision.
There it is again. Look at the size of this beast. Make it a thing. Make it a thing.
For Squadron 42.
Now, I know you're all asking, when can I play it?
When can I play it?
When we have the locked release date, you will be the first to know. Now, we're in polishing phase on Squadron 42. You will start to see a lot more things coming to Star Citizen, as well as overall progress on the persistent universe. The polish phase can take some time. We have come this far, and we want to make sure Squadron 42 delivers on the promise of being this generation's wing commander. Now, even though there's only a few of us in this video, I'd like to extend a big thank you to all our staff around the globe who've been putting their heart and soul into bringing Squadron 42 to life. And I would like to thank everyone in the community for your patience and your support. To paraphrase Admiral Bishop, when people ask, what did you do in the development of Squadron 42? You can look them in the eye and say, I held the line. I'm proud to stand with you. Thank you for making this game with us.
We've been trying to reach you about your ship's lack of LTI insurance. Xi'an cargo ship is definitely on my list of in-game grind trophies. Yeah, I hope that it's not just a Squadron 42 set piece. That ends up being something that they make for the Xi'an. And even if it isn't like player flyable, I hope that it becomes a thing. It looks cool. And I know there's a lot of people who are really into the Xi'an, love the Raylan. And so I hope that CIG takes that concept or whatever you want to call it, to the actual in-game level if they haven't already. And joke's on them. All my ships have LTI. Yeah, get off my ship. I already have insurance, you schmarmy salesman. Black and Linux says, I hope we see some Tavaran in Squadron 42. I don't know if we're going to see them in the first episode just because I haven't heard any mention of them being worked on for, this is what I'm looking for. in the monthly reports. That being said, maybe they snuck it in there. Don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get started with the animation rigs, I guess you'd call it, for the Tavaran and other aliens leading into the next 2 episodes. Because I would really like to see Tavaran members of the military within the campaign. So we're gonna backtrack here really quick. I'm gonna pull up a couple things, and I'm gonna remind you of the link. And actually, I'll re-drop it in chat. I'm gonna drop the link to Jail's video in chat. So please go give him a view on this video, give it a like, and maybe if you're willing, give a subscribe, leave a comment below, help him out. But Jail did a really good job researching those capital ships that we talked about at the beginning of the video that are unknown to us. So let's rewatch this and let's see if I can find the right scene.
And everyone you hold dear, and they ask, what did you do in the Battle of Vega? You can look them in the eye and...
Aha, here we go. So here we have the UEES Corvus, and you can see the turrets on the top. Interestingly, we don't see any turrets on the bottom like the Bengal has. And obviously we can see the main thrusters on the bottom, but it doesn't have the secondary thrusters up top. This thing on the bottom is interesting. I wonder if maybe that's a small entrance to a small hangar. Hard to know. It could just be, a giant intake or just, lighting being weird. But the UES Corvus, and then...
And say, I held the line. Men and women of the Second Fleet, I am proud to stand with you today. Good luck. Bishop out.
So where's that UI?
Nice speech.
Any word from the recon team?
Not yet.
Well, let's get into position.
Maybe it was farther back. Pretty sure it was during this scene.
We
I funded
fight
the
today.
line.
So in 40 years from now, when you're surrounded by everything and everyone you hold dear, and they ask, what did you do in the Battle of Vega? You can look them in the eye and say...
Somewhere in here, there's another clip, and it's somewhere it shows... I thought it was on a UI screen.
I held the line.
Oh, Seven Garden Crane, how you
Men and
doing?
women
I'm
of the
doing well,
Second
thank you for
Fleet.
joining us this evening. Somewhere in here, it's in Jail's video. Jail caught it, but the there's an image on the UI of another cruiser, exact same class, called the UES Integrity, and the UES Integrity was actually mentioned in a piece of lore about it was like a recruiting type video for the UE Navy. It was recorded in like the 2930s, so it's like 20 years old by Star Citizen terms. And they mentioned it as a cruiser. And if you guys recall from way, way, way back when, the cruiser, the battle cruiser, and the escort carrier were all stretch goals from way back when. And so that's why I'm pretty confident that one of those unannounced ships is an escort carrier, the one that we saw earlier. And then we also will have the cruiser shown to us as part of Squadron 42. Now, whether we see it past this initial Battle of Vega, because it might just be a external art, and we don't get to see the interior of the ship, maybe until a later episode of Squadron 42. But I'm pretty confident that is the first version of the cruiser and and an escort carrier of some sort, and that eventually they will be making their way into the PU, but not for players. Not going to happen. Everybody just cool your jets. I I don't remember if the Pegasus was a stretch goal or not. I remember it being announced. I just remember the escort carrier being a stretch goal. And that's something, tell you what, just go watch Jail's video. He did a much better job of it, and he's got a lot of good citations in there, and he'll explain it. But yeah, it's really interesting, the stuff that he is able to find out about those ships. And it's exciting to me because when we first saw... When we first saw the Second Fleet in, gosh, it was like 4 years ago, something like that, maybe longer. I forget when that trailer was that first showed this image. These ships were not here. It was just the Bengal, Javelins, Idrises, and Hammerheads. There was not the escort carrier here. The escort carrier, where did the other one go? It's like up here somewhere. And there was not these two cruisers. And so now having two cruisers and two escort carriers in addition to a Bengal, this fleet is massive. It is just ginormous and is a force to be reckoned with. And this is the Second Fleet. And the UEE has dozens of fleets like this that are anchored by a Bengal and would have multiple capital ships. And this isn't even showing off a battle cruiser yet, based off of the lore that Jail found. So do go check out that video that I linked above. I would really appreciate if you did that. So let's switch. Now that we have finished watching the Squadron 42 trailer video, I just want to say thank you everybody who's been hanging out and watching with me. I'm going to continue on, and we're going to watch the what do they call the UI one? I'm brain farting. The Navigating the Universe presentation. We're going to watch that one and go through that in the same manner. So I'm going to switch back to the previous screen and get that pulled up, and then we'll switch back over. 4over4 says it's such a good vid Jail did. Yeah, please go check it out. Show him some support. Jail's a good friend and deserves the support. But yeah, we're going to hang out with Zane, Bone, and Emily, the UI people.